Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
You have a chance to change the world for better. I want to ask you a question. When you were young, when you were growing up, what did you aspire to be? Who did you want to become? And the follow-up question to that is that what you're doing right now? I know I used to tell people that I'm going to change the world. I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to help others, see the path. I'm going to be the sort of lighthouse that people would, have, a reference point. I really wanted to represent the idea that you can be, do, and have a happier existence. And that was, fostered by, I don't know if you've heard my story of how we had a teacher who came to my school when I was 13, and she actually ignited the passion that I had, to show up into the world and become a role model for those that didn't have a role model. Okay, now I'm going to ask you the question again. Did you at some point in your life think you could change the world or do something different? And, are you actually doing that thing right now? And I know, it might be one of those things that might be like, I don't want to listen to this. But before you tune out or you scroll out of this podcast, I really want you to bear with me here, because if you're not doing what you're meant to be doing, obviously, you're doing the world a disservice. We need you, all right? You need to stand up and show up to the calling that you had as a young person before the world told you what could and what couldn't happen. We need more outliers like yourself. We need more people to show us that we can be, do, and have a happier existence. And I can understand you're a coach now, you're a consultant now, and you're a small to medium business owner. That could be enough. Yes, congratulations. You have done more than what other people are doing out there. You know the reason why? The reason is because most of us set the bar way too low when it comes to believing what we're capable of. Most of us, have very shallow and small targets, because we probably have failed in the past and we don't want to hurt our feelings. We don't want to hurt the feelings of those that believe in us, and we don't want to appear as if we're total losers if we don't set out to achieve what it is that we are capable of. And guess what happens now? We sell ourselves short. We then settle for just being a has-been or a has-run, and settle for mediocrity instead of actually doing work that matters, and becoming outliers, people that actually have a standing chance to change the world. So like I said, most of us just really set the bar way too low. And we hit, and we wonder why we never amount to anything. Today, I want you to really stand up for what it is that you wanted to become. I want you to stand up for younger you, the person that you wanted to become, and start working towards there. And if you're not doing crazily energetic work, then I think you're not trying hard enough. Yes, you might be putting out your consulting, your training, your information, your expertise, and you're just maybe doing, best practice or standard practice or standard operating procedure. I don't think you're going hard enough to show us what you're really capable of. All right, I understand you're doing good work, you're being productive, and you're putting in the energy for you to be, do, and have a happier existence. But is that enough? Are you actually doing work that people would stand out and be like, oh my God, I so want to excel like what Sally is doing. I so want to achieve, the greater heights that person has showed me what's possible. I don't know if you've heard the story of Roger Bannister, who became an outlier, especially in the running front. And when he showed the world that it was possible to run a mile in 4 minutes or under, and then pretty much from then on, he had now created a new reference point that people started, judging themselves or benchmarking themselves against. We need to be those people in our industries that show people what's possible. Every single day I show up on this podcast. Have you ever taken the time to see how much work goes into creating such a big body of work? We are now in season 5, okay? And each season has 50 episodes, and each episode is 30 minutes long, and I show up every single day. And from the time that I showed myself that this was possible, I now know I can create 2 or 3 episodes a day, and that would have been me doing amazing work. That would have been me being productive and really putting the energy in the work that I'm capable of. Some people put one episode once every month. What are you doing throughout the whole month? Some people put an episode once every fortnight. What are you doing throughout the 30 days that you're not creating for and relating to your audience? Okay, I mean, obviously, if I would go any further than I am right now, then, we would just maybe be too much. But I've put that benchmark on myself that every single day I need to at least retain 30 minutes that I'm showing up for my audience. Okay? How often are you doing crazily good work that would then speak on your behalf before you reach out to people, especially in the world that we're in, because we're always supposed to be selling something to somebody, like our coaching, our expertise, and everything else that comes along with it. So if you find yourself maybe reaching out to your audience, maybe cold calling potential clients and then having them hang up in your face, it's because you haven't done the work. If you find yourself sending out hundreds of emails without getting as much as, hey, thank you so much for reaching out, you haven't done the work. If you find yourself wasting thousands of dollars on ad spend without generating any qualified leads, you haven't done the work. Sometimes if it feels like no one wants to buy what you're selling, and maybe you rely on your business to pay bills and put food on the table, you haven't done the work. How often are you doing crazily good work that people will seek out or people will miss when it doesn't show up in their newsfeed every single day? How often are you crazily productive so much that you even forget to eat? I think it was Eric Thomas who said, if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, that will make you successful. Okay, we can all do it. Okay, we can all do and have a happier existence. We just need to apply ourselves. We just need to aim higher. We just need to bring ourselves to actually create so much that we are left with nothing else in the tank, just because we've done the best that we possibly can. Okay, so there is the question again. How often do you put a crazy amount of energy in whatever it is that you're doing? And like I said, we can all do it. It's just that we don't reach up or reach out high enough very often. And if we do, it's probably a once in a blue moon thing, and we're not consistent enough for people to then latch on to the fact that we are the right kind of people with the right solutions that they're looking for. I don't usually like to put dates or times to this podcast, but I really wanted to bring your attention to why I'm speaking about this. It's Halloween season right now, and a lot of people are putting out decorations outside their homes. And me and my kids, we really enjoy this time. Obviously, the kids enjoy the candy, and I also enjoy dressing up. And this year, if you're going to be looking at photos, I'm not on social media, but maybe somehow you might find these photos later on if you dig deep enough. I'm showing up as Bleepy. So Bleepy is this kid's entertainer, and I can't wait. But while I was doing that, my kids are at school right now. I just did a run around the neighborhood just so that I can see which places have decorated so that we just go to those strategic places and do the trick-or-treating, okay? And guess what? The people that decorated last year have outdone themselves this year. The people that constantly are showing up for Halloween have completely changed the narrative in our street, and you can literally see their decorations from a satellite picture, okay? So that's what then prompted me to say, you know what, when people consistent in the way they show up in the world, giving their celebration pieces out there and making sure that the kids in the neighborhood are enjoying their holidays. It's things like that that make people remember where to go, remember where to get information, remember where to, without wasting their time. Can you imagine your clients right now are looking for people that can help them make sense of the world around them? Your clients right now are looking for people to solve their problems. And if they can remember you from 2 years ago or from 2 Halloweens ago, do you think they're going to waste their time going around to different places in the neighborhood? Or will they just walk straight to your website? Will they just walk straight to your business? Will they not just walk straight to your content? That's exactly what I'm talking about. When you go above and beyond and make yourself stand out, people will take notice. The world will take notice, and you create a shortcut that people need in order to, learn about the things that you're doing. I can understand as an entrepreneur, you don't necessarily have to decorate your website or your business with Halloween stuff, but find a way to make people remember to come back to you year after year after year to find the solutions that it is that you're solving for them. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I know marketing becomes your Halloween, okay? And it's just maybe one aspect of running a successful business. You go from hiring and managing new staff, balancing books and, completely driving the growth of your business and your revenue. And it all feels like maybe a constant balancing act where you're pulled in a lot of different directions all at once. I know all that you want is just to maybe, help your clients. You just want to spend as much time as possible changing people's lives and solving people's problems. But how are people going to know of your existence if you're not showing up, like my neighbors who decorate their households with, Halloween things every single year? I know you don't want to waste countless hours each week maybe being on a podcast or trying to navigate this whole world of online marketing. But how are people going to remember who you are and what it is that you do? Yes, for certain, you want to be spending, all the time that you have solving people's problems. And you certainly don't want to spend another minute on the phone having to beg people to hire your services. But if you put out the Halloween decorations, if you put out the outlandish, work and stuff that people can find you a little bit later on in life, you don't have to compete with everybody else who's competing for price. And let me tell you something, that price competition is a race to the bottom, and you don't want to win that race. So if you want a little bit of inspiration, go and look around your house maybe during Halloween, or look around the people that are doing work that matters out there. I mean, the energy that just comes out of what people are doing is beyond crazy. It's beautiful when somebody really takes it in that they own this space. This is the only way that I show up. The world takes notice, and you need to put yourself out there in the craziest way so that people will take notice. And you want to put a crazy amount of yourself into the work that you're doing every single day and be consistent about it. I mean, we've all heard about people who are so insanely great at something, and we maybe categorize them as flukes or people that are called outliers, and we describe them with phrases like, you know what, maybe she can do that because she's an exception, or maybe she can do that because, don't you see him, he's crazy, or, well, everyone except for her, she doesn't count. How many times have you gone to somebody's, concert or somebody's event, and you're like, wow, how do they do that? All these people that we hear about in the media, people that we hear about in history, Thomas Edison, who created the light bulb. Right now, you can just flick a switch in your household and there is light. But he had to take 10,000 attempts in order for him to be able to do that. Who has that patience? How many times are you going to show up on your podcast before anybody, rocks up at your household and gives you positive feedback without you worrying what the world is going to say, but just showing up and doing work that matters? Half of the time, when we get to know or find out about an artist or a singer or like a movie, movie star, they would have been on maybe their fourth movie. They would have been on their fourth album. And then when we then get to know them, we can then go back to all their past work and then be like, oh my God, this person has been there all this time. How many times when you see a collaboration, with someone and you're like, wait a minute, is this guy new or things of that nature? And then you find out that they've been at it and nobody knew who they were, but that didn't stop them. Man, somehow these people have attained what's called outlier status. And some of them don't even follow the same rules that everybody else does. We are sitting here looking for the best practices, looking for trends, looking for what everybody else is doing. Because if you're doing what everybody else is doing, you disappear in the noise. Have you ever played a game called Tetris? In the game called Tetris, there's all these shapes that come down and you've got to match them to, the lines that you can create. And if you complete a line, that line disappears. So what does that tell you? The ones that fit in, the blocks that, fall in line disappear. But it's the outliers, the ones that are crooked shaped, the ones that don't fit in are the ones that actually stand out. And that's what makes the game interesting. You don't necessarily have to be a movie star. Like I mentioned, you don't have to be a professional athlete like Usain Bolt or things of that nature. Anybody who's got an idea, who's got a love for what it is that they're doing, it could be your training, your information, your expertise, your paid speaking gigs, whatever you are doing, do it with the utmost faith of knowing that what I'm doing matters. I mean, the popular perception of a lot of people becomes, that you are out of this world. No, you are just doing stuff because you absolutely love what it is that you're doing. There's people that out of this world, people that are unstoppable. A few people are good at what they do. Some are even elite, but a very few people are completely unstoppable. You want to be unstoppable no matter what may come in. It might be market downturns, it might be lockdowns or whatever it is that might come through. Don't let anything that's happening on the outside stop you from the positive momentum that you are creating in the world. Let me tell you something, man. Those people who are unstoppable are in a world of their own. They don't compete with anybody else but themselves. Have you ever found maybe Kanye West, trying to find out what, Justin Bieber is doing and then maybe copying that? He doesn't. They're doing stuff that are creating their own path on the way. And you never know what they'll do next, do you? What you do is we're only forced to respond to people that are creating and paving their own pathway because that hasn't been done before. And even though they don't compete with you, they actually make you want to compete with them. You know why? Because they set the standard. What standards are you setting in your business? What standards are you setting in your training, in your information, in your expertise? Are you unstoppable? Because at the end of the day, if you're not, then you're just like anybody else. And guess what happens? Like Tetris, if you fit in, bruh, you disappear. Like I said, when I was doing trick-or-treating with my kids, it occurred to me that there's this trait that is not only reserved to celebrities. We've got our own local people that are doing things that are out of this world, decorating their houses so much that they leave a lasting impression. And even kids know what houses to go to. And it can happen to everyday normal people in abnormal circumstances. You know, when people show up to your place and you literally give them belonging, you give them connection, you give them peace of mind, and you afford them status, you, my friend, will be totally different to anybody else who's just dealing with their clients on a transactional level. You know? See, anybody who's doing anything, they might be a coach, a consultant, as long as they're doing good work that matters out there. It could be the way you write your emails. It could be you at the gym lifting heavy things, or you can lift twice as much as the people around you. Let me tell you something. It's easy for you to fulfill the wish that you had as a kid, that you always wanted to change the world. You know? And I kid you not, you don't have to be a household name for you to change the world. Instead, you can just be an outlier who just really blends with the rest of us, but you are doing your part to change the world in your own little way. You know? Some of these people are not following best practices. If you find yourself following best practices, you've already lost. Because by the time somebody details all that stuff, they've already tried all of those things, and they're not just selling you what they think works. Not all of us are going to have the same results. You know? So how are you going to attain, outlier status out there? Because, like I keep repeating, whatever you're going to be doing, whatever you're going to be showing up as, people want to be reminded that there's people that can be, do, and have all of that, just so you can be that reference point that people use as a yardstick to, be, do, and have a happier existence themselves. You want to be proof that life is possible. You want to be proof that there is possibility in every avenue, predicated on the way you show up, the way you do your work, the way you encourage people's dreams, the way you help them throw rocks at their enemies. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, do it with all your heart, just so that people know that where they are is only temporary. You know? And this brings me to you. I mean, you've got all the raw ingredients necessary to become the changing force in the world. First of all, you went out. Maybe you were in a world where you could actually wear a Halloween costume. You embodied that character that you became. If you were Superman, if you were Batman, or whoever you were as a kid, you would show up and make the noises and the sounds that that character does. What happened? When did you lose that costume? You know, right now you're bursting out of the league. You know, that is the rest of everybody else, and you occupy possibility. You represent possibility. You just need to step into your work. You just need to dedicate yourself and apply yourself so that you can actually start changing the world for better. It actually requires moving forward. You know, even if your brain is screaming, stop. Even if the world is screaming, stop. Even if the world is presenting to you best practices, that's best practices for them, not you as an outlier. You know? It requires you to do everything. Ignore the fear that might be coming through. There's a lot of potential in your work right now. You have a chance to change the world for better. Take it. The world is waiting for your own greatness. We need more outliers. We need to see you. So what is it that you're going to be doing there? I mean, there's Malcolm Gladwell. He wrote the book Outliers, right? And he says that to become an outlier, you just have to do one of these two things. Do something for 10,000 hours. You know, if you have practiced your craft for 10,000 hours or more, you are now, an excellent expert in that space. I mean, he tells the story of the Beatles who had, to play for about 8 to 10 hours straight in nightclubs in the 1950s, and nobody knew who they were. But now they are a world-famous rock band. You know? And once you've got that, keep putting yourself in positions to win. People call it luck, people call it serendipity or whatever it is, but I just think that if you put yourself in a position to succeed, if you allow yourself to be, do, and have whatever it is that you're looking for, especially in business, you identify your target market, you clarify your message, and you keep showing up for them, somebody will take notice. Somebody will show up and be like, hey, I need you to help me with such and such. But if we're not showing up, if we're not doing the work, and if we're not helping others be, do, and have, how are they going to know of our own existence? How are they going to know that we're the right kind of people with the right kind of solutions for whatever it is that they're looking for? We need to show up. What are you doing to show up for your audience? I'm putting out this podcast every single day. People need to read you. People need to hear you. People need to see you. People need to experience you up until they get to know, like, and trust you. And we all know that people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. And in the process, work on yourself. Work on your mindset. Work on surrounding yourself with people who really remind you of the future. You really want to keep yourself strong in order for you to be there for your customers consistently. You know, look at where you failed. Take the lessons out of that. And at the end of the day, whatever you are going for, go for it with all your heart. Make it simple. Make it easy for you to show up every single day. Just keep showing up and take the shot every single time. Let me tell you something. If you fail more than if you fail more than you win, you are actually doing the best. So many people are afraid of showing up. You know? Let me say, you don't need to necessarily get caught up in the results of your success. Always remain focused on what you got to do and the work that matters. Once you start doing the work, people will take notice. Because when you start doing noteworthy stuff, you gain self-confidence. And when you're self-confident, guess what? People pick up on that energy. You know? And whatever you do, if you're going to be good at it, just keep multiplying the opportunities that you can perform that particular activity for many people. And before you know it, you become that expert in that field. It's not necessarily just reading a set of best practices and already you're a coach, consultant, or small to medium business. You know? And once you hit your goals, set bigger goals. Set goals that far exceed your current capabilities. Because like I said at the start of this podcast, some people hit their goals because they aim too small and then they hit. You know? And once you're there, send the elevator down. Teach one, each one. You know? Don't wait until you think you're ready. Just keep applying yourself. Just keep showing up. I think there's a proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago and the second best time is now. You don't have to wait until you're ready. Just a lot of people wait. They believe that, they can start after they have enough time, enough money, enough connections, enough credentials. All of that is just waiting for society to give you permission. Give yourself permission to win. Some people wait until they feel secure. Let me tell you something. If you want to win this race, if you want to be, do, and have a happier existence, just show up. You know? So much of what we're doing, you do not need permission. And if you need permission, you probably shouldn't be doing it. You know? If you need permission, you probably shouldn't be doing it. No one has the right to tell you what you can and cannot do with your life. You know? I know a lot of people who chase whatever has worked for other people, and they never truly go out and find what exactly is it that works for them. If you are going to need permission, don't do it. No one will ever give you permission to live your dreams. Never. That's never going to happen. And once you've figured out what it is that you're supposed to be doing, go out and do it like your life depends on it. You know why? Because it does. I mean, for real, we started off just talking about if you're not doing crazy, energetic work, you're not trying hard enough. I really want you to be, do, and have a happier existence. And let me tell you something. I think it was Tim Grover who mentioned that from this point, your strategy should just be to make everybody else get on your level. You're not going to go down to theirs, because you know what happens? If people pull you down to their level, they will beat you with experience, and you won't be able to, recover from that. You're not out here competing with anybody else. Ever again, you're not in a competition with everybody else. Your competition is you. And let other people compete with you. And from now on, the end result is all that matters. What you set out to achieve, what you set out to create, what you set out to bring to this world, and the promise that you made to yourself when you were younger, that you were going to change the world. We are waiting. So when you become unstoppable, let me tell you something. You make sure that you get everything that you want, and especially for your loved ones and those that are around you, and everything that you need is already inside of you. All you just need to do is trust yourself and do the work. I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this information. I mean, obviously, I came here just to talk about, just doing crazy energetic work, but then we touched on a few things. Most of us are setting the bar way too low when it comes to believing what we're capable of. I want you to be totally different. I want you to do good work. I want you to be productive. And I want you to put more energy in the work that you're doing. Tell me something. How often are you doing crazily good work? How often are you being crazily productive? How often do you put a crazy amount of energy in what you do? You know what you're supposed to do with this information from today. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au